All right. So I'm going to talk about two things today. Firstly, I'd want to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about OpenText. We're primarily seen as an information management company, but there's so much more that we do. So I'll talk to you about OpenText, what is it that we do, our entire portfolio. And then I'm going to talk about OpenText, what is it that we do for cybersecurity in a little bit of detail, right? Need a slide? Okay, so we're a Canadian-based organization. We've been in operation for close to 30 years, right? That's a long innings to run. A $7 billion organization, roughly around 23,000 people. We have a very large presence in India. We're close to 25% of our employees based in India. Large development centers in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Chennai. We've been in operation in India for more than 20 odd years. Okay. Next slide. I'm sorry. Previous slide, please. There's something wrong with this. Okay. Okay. So if you look at OpenText, if any of you have been in SAP shop before, the document management and the document archival is, in most cases, is primarily done by OpenText, right? So we're primarily known as an information management organization. As a focus, we look at next-gen cloud. We look at enabling all our solutions on the cloud. We not only offer security solutions, but we also embed security in all the softwares that we take into the market. We've adopted AI, I think, close to around 10 odd years. They've been featured in our solutions, but what we've now started embedding is Gen AI in our products. This is the portfolio. I'm just going to skim through this. Information management, we offer document management, process automation. We also have a business network cloud where we offer business-to-business supply chain integration automation. We offer a digital experience platform for both web and mobile. We offer an end-to-end DevOps platform where you can do application lifecycle management, you do functional testing, performance testing, and quality testing. We do have an end-to-end observability platform where you can do network management systems. You can look at enterprise management systems. You also look at service management, right? We also have a complete analytics platform. But what I'm going to focus today is on cybersecurity and what is it that we do in this domain. Okay, so just to put things in perspective, right? There were a lot of comments that came in the morning. One surely which resonated was that cybersecurity is no longer a compliance norm. The scale of attacks and the complexity of attacks have risen exponential, right? So much so that they can actually harm business and bring businesses down, right? Earlier, there were more DDoS attacks, there were network intrusions, they were exfiltrating data, and they matured after that. One of my previous presenters did talk about the SolarWinds, a supply chain attack. Even more stunning than the SolarWinds attack was a Kaseya attack, which happened on an MSP. So your target was not a single person, but there was a multiplier effect, right? Close to 800 organizations went down. And the one that really tops all of this was the Bangladesh Central Bank, which was an APT-based attack, which was a slow attack, but what they were actually able to do was siphon out $150 million in cash, right? So the impact that cyber attacks can have on organizations are quite disastrous. And it's just not to enterprises, but now you look at cyber attacks happening on government and public sector organizations. We've seen in India examples like the ransomware and malware attacks that happen on AIMS and CDSL, and there have been cases of attacks also happening on gas distribution and water distribution organizations. Cyber attacks also now have political impact and is also used as an instrument in war, right? So what is the solution? Cybersecurity is a point problem, but there is no point solution. If any OEM, any vendor comes and says that I have a solution to fix your cybersecurity problems, they are wrong, right? So what one does is that one looks at a layer of solutions, and depending on the kind of resource you have, you also look at a defense in depth. The open text point of view here is that there are 6 critical technologies every organizations need to have. 1, you need to protect your network. 2, you need to protect your endpoints. You need to protect your applications. You need to protect your data, your identities, and no matter what level of protection you put in place, there is going to be an attack. So you need to have some kind of an overarching solution which can identify an attack, analyze an attack, and respond to an attack, right? That's something that a SOC does. Now, how does open text support you here? Is that we have solutions to pretty much all these 6 critical technologies. If you look at application security, we offer you Fortify, which is an end-to-end SAST, DAST, and an open source application testing tool. If you look at data, we offer you Voltage, where one can do data discovery, data classification, you can do data protection and data governance. We not only protect, but we also monitor. So we can do database monitoring and we can do file monitoring. If you look at IDAM, we offer an end-to-end identity and access management suite with NetIQ, where one can do, you can do identity management, you can do access management, advanced authentication, you can do privilege access management and identity governance, right? And our flagship product is ArcSight, which is truly a next-gen SOC, which has the log management layer, a correlation layer. You have your SOAR, your Yuba, a security data lake, and threat intel. For network protection, we have Bricata, which is a network packet capture and analysis tool, and we have a base level EDR for endpoints, right? What I'm showing here is not capability. What I'm showing here is what we've delivered in this market for the last 10 to 15 years. We have close to 100 SOCs operational in India, where the customers manage their SOCs using ArcSight. I have more than 300 customers where the SOCs are managed on the ArcSight platform by our MSSPs. If I look at 45, I have more than 100 customers operating in India. NetIQ, more than 50 customers. Voltage, more than 25 customers. When I talk of ArcSight, I'm talking of scale of 200,000 EPS, right? I'm talking of Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Finance, who run their SOCs on ArcSight. When I look at 45, pretty much all the top SIs in India, whether it's Infosys, Wipro, TCS, have used Fortify as their application security platform. Our largest install base for NetIQ is the National Health Authority with more than 3 lakh users using our platform. So I'm looking at time. I'm going to go through a couple of these solutions that we have. ArcSight, truly next-gen SOC. If you can't collect the logs, if you can't monitor, you cannot secure. Right? It's got one of the largest connector framework, close to 480 out-of-the-box connectors, and it also has flex connectors where you can pretty much customize it to build any connector, any parser to collect data from any application and device. We have a security data lake, and we have Recon, which is a log management platform. Recon can handle close to a petabyte of data, right? As I said, a largest install in India is close to 200,000 EPS. You can use it for archiving, depending on your retention policy. You can use it for forensics and for threat hunting. When I look at Detect, which is our correlation layer, we are the industry's pretty much, we do our correlation in real time. Like the very few platforms in the industry which can identify a threat in real time, and we can do that. And our ESM, we have threat intel built into it, and we have MITRE. We just don't use a framework for reference. We've built MITRE into our platform. Neeraj, can you just shift to the ArcSight console? I hope you're sharing the desktop and not, okay, all right. So what you're seeing here is actually the ArcSight console. And you have the entire MITRE framework out there. This is not a reference framework. Depending on the rules that you have configured on ArcSight, it actually shows you what tactics and techniques you're protected against in your SOC. And when you do your threat modeling, you know what else you need to protect yourself. So you need to then bring in those devices and those rules into your SOC. Yeah, if you can go back to the slides. We also have SOAR. SOAR, again, you can decide it can either be a fully automated workflow or a semi-automated workflow. And we have AI built into Oxide. This has been operational for close to 7 odd years. Next slide, please. What we do with Oxide Intelligence is that we look at pretty much all the events that come into the organization. It could be billions of events. They run to various data models. And what Oxide Intelligence does is that it classifies each of these or categorizes each of these events to an actual user and an entity, right? And then it does a risk scoring. If you can move to the next slide. It does a risk scoring, and what it gives to the analyst is not alerts, but a stack rank list of entities and users which the analyst would then need to analyze, right? Can you move to the browser? I just want to show you Oxide Intelligence in action. So this is what Oxide Intelligence is that it's looked at various events, and what it's actually given to the SOC analyst is 9 extreme entities and 28 high risk, and it stacks rank it with the risk, right? So if you can click on Joshua, it'll actually give all the events that have happened which are risky, and on what basis the AI is taking the decision that this particular entity or user is risky, right? Oxide itself, a very powerful tool. It will help you manage and identify both known and unknown threats, right? So we'll move to the slide, Neeraj, 45. So our next solution is 45, which is an application security tool. Generally in the industry, you do a SAST as a different practice, you will do DAST as a different scan, you'll do open source as a different scan. Next slide. What we do in 45 is that you can do SAST, DAST, you can do mobile, you can do API security, open source, and infrastructure code, all on a single software, right? Because when you look at doing these scans, it's not that you do each of these scans on different applications. You need to run all these scans on every application and across your organization. Okay, and this fits into your SDLC. When you look at your development and build, you run your SAST and your SEA scans there. When you look at SAST, we support close to 30-odd programming languages. We have very comprehensive when it comes to our vulnerability rule packs. We have close to 1,000 categories of vulnerabilities themselves. And we integrate directly into your CI/CD pipeline. We partner with Sonatype, so that's also built. So when you run a scan, you can run both a SAST and an SEA scan. And here we identify all your open source artifacts. We look at licensing, we look at vulnerabilities, and the concurrency of that. And at test stage, we run DAST. DAST, where you crawl your applications, you simulate an attack, you review that, and then we give you a curated list of vulnerabilities which are exploitable, right? But what brings all of this together is the SSE, where, as I said, you need to have a view of all your vulnerabilities across every application, right, and across your entire organization. That's what SSE does. Neeraj, can you move to the 45 console, please? So the SSE console will show the first one that the UI we're going to show you here is these are the list of applications that you have, and if you can scroll to the right, it actually shows you for the first application, you've done a SAST, you've done a DAST, and you have an open source. So this will give you a comprehensive view of all vulnerabilities that are there in this application, right? And if you can move to the next tab, it just not gives you vulnerabilities for applications, but when you zoom out, you can actually get a view of the application security posture across your entire organizations. Now, we've got AI built into 45 to solve the primary problem that we have in application security, which is false positives, right? So what we do with Aviator, 45 Aviator, is that we look at the scans. The Aviator works with a security LLM at the back end and audits these results. I'm okay, thanks. It audits these results and identifies whether it's a false positive or it's a true positive, right? If you can move to the next, just the tab, please. Right? So these are two scans. One scan is done with Aviator, without Aviator. What the Aviator has done is that it has suppressed two critical vulnerabilities, right? And it has left just two here. Can you just move to the next tab? Right? So this is where, in the first vulnerability, if you see in the auditor status, it has decided that it's not an issue. Just go to the history tab. History here on top, right side, yeah. So 45 Aviator here has done the audit, right, and then moved the status from pending review to not an issue. It also uses generative AI to develop content which explains why it has decided what the issue is and why it has decided that it's a false positive. And also then, if it's a true positive, it also generates content of how you need to modify the code. Can you go to the last one? Yeah, this is an SQL injection vulnerability where it has decided that you need to remediate this issue. And it's changed the auditor status to remediation required, right? It's then generated this content explaining what the issue is and then also given you the code snippet that you need to revise, right? So that's 45. With the SEBI regulation, can you just move to the slides? With the SEBI regulation, most organizations, if you're in BFSI, you need to have your SBOMs and SBOM managers in place. So we generate SBOMs using Sonatype, and we also have started offering SBOM Manager. We have a first customer in India where the implementation of SBOM Manager is on at present. So with SBOM Manager, what you're able to do is that you get a list of all your SBOMs, which are internal and external. You can catalog them and search them, right? So next time there is a Log4j vulnerability, something like that, you're able to, the biggest issue that we had last time is that nobody had a clue of where those vulnerabilities actually were within the organization. So now you will have a clear view of what are those applications which have those components and are having that particular version of that software patch which has that vulnerability, right? So you can go into remediation mode. So that's 45, and I think my time's up. So I'm going to skip these slides and just give you a view of the customer base that we have. Very large customer base. For SOX, we have the Ministry of Defense, we have the Ministry of Finance, NSE runs on us, you have PNB, UCO Bank, India Post and Payments Bank. 45, as I said, all the large software developers in India use our platform, Infosys, Wipro, TCS, TechM, and we have most of the large banks, right? You have UBI, I know LIC uses us. IDAM, as I said, the largest customer that we have is NHA. We have Punjab Sind Bank, CRIS, ITC, SIB, and more. And we also have large data security customers, right? I did hear one comment about security, giving trust, enabling trust. That is true. I think cybersecurity now is a critical practice within an organization, and cybersecurity drives trust and confidence in your organization and in the solutions you take to market, and that's what drives acceptability and adoption, and those are the key to success. Right? Thank you.